So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and very warm greetings from the United Kingdom. I'd like to thank the organisers and Lynda Scammell for asking me out to Moscow, and particularly to Kirill, who I've been speaking to by telephone for about 10 months, and he's been absolutely fantastic in helping me get organised for coming to Russia and making a presentation here to you today. I just want to give you a little flavour of what is currently happening in the United Kingdom, some problems we encounter, and what steps we are taking to tackle. In the United Kingdom, we're a very, very small country, not like Russia at all, and we have an organisation called the Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency. And we are the regulators of medicines and medical devices for all of the United Kingdom. As well as controlling the products on the market, we also have contained in our legislation powers to take criminal prosecutions and to investigate people who break the law in the United Kingdom. So if you like, we act as the medicines police as well. Even though the United Kingdom is very small, there are still 4 countries in the United Kingdom: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. And the MHRA, the agency, acts in all 4 countries. We are responsible for all illegal activities that relate to medicines and medical devices in the United Kingdom. That will include illegal wholesaling, advertising of medicines, sale and supply, importation, manufacture, counterfeit medicine, trials, clinical trials, and fraud relating to falsification of data on clinical trials, unlicensed medicines, supplies over the internet, illegal herbal medicine, stolen medicine, and medicine that's diverted from one country to another. But out of that long list, the main problems that face the United Kingdom at the moment are counterfeit medicines, which are mostly obtained from the internet. And the internet itself causes huge problems for drugs coming in to the United Kingdom and probably, in fact, for the rest of Europe. One of the key issues for resolving some of the problems we find is to give the general public, the patients themselves, as much information as possible. So we regularly publish information on the website, giving everybody as much information as we possibly can. We give information particularly to patients who are tempted to go on the internet to buy medicines. We do that to stop sites like this. Has anybody ever seen a site like that, advertising medicines direct to the public? Okay, well, this site is completely illegal. It's a fake site, and all the medicines you see advertised there are illegal. And if anybody was to order them, that would not be the medicines that turn up in the post. Ooh. We also run lots of advertising campaigns. We regularly appear on television programs in the UK and radio programs, and run advertising campaigns to warn people about the dangers of buying medicines on the internet. I'm going to show you a clip of one of our advertising campaigns, which I think doesn't need my English words for you to understand some of the consequences of buying medicines on the internet. Okay. We have developed an anti-counterfeiting strategy in the UK to try and combat counterfeit medicines from reaching our supply chain. We've introduced a number of measures to reduce counterfeit medicines appearing in the supply chain, and these measures are implemented through a program of communication, collaboration, and extra regulation. For example, we've installed a 24-hour reporting system and telephone line. So members of the public, doctors, or any other citizens can phone us 24 hours a day and report a counterfeit medicine, either that they have obtained or that they might have seen on the internet. An example of our action is in 2011, 5 men were prosecuted for their involvement in the importation of 2 million doses of counterfeit medicines into the UK, some of which reached patients. The people involved were prosecuted. There was a trial for 4 months in the UK at the Old Bailey Criminal Court in central London. And I'm happy to say that the ringleader was sentenced to 8 years imprisonment. I'm now going to talk about something called Operation Pangea. I don't know if anybody might have heard of Operation Pangea. I'm hoping some people on the panel definitely will. I'll explain that. This is about medicines sold over the internet on a global scale. Rogue websites that are appearing and threatening people's health all over the world. 1 week in every year, we take concentrated action all over the world in dealing with those sites. As counterfeit medicines over the internet is a global issue, it needs a global solution. Internationally, medicines regulators, customs officers, and law enforcement agencies set aside 1 week during the year to tackle websites selling counterfeit medicines. We're tackling the demand through trying to raise public awareness and tackling the supply through targeting the illegal online sites themselves. But we're doing this to protect public health, and I think we all have the same issues at heart, otherwise none of us would be here today. Concentrating on the 4 things that those people need to have a website: they need the internet infrastructure, they need supplies, they need payment service provider because you need a credit card to pay for some of those goods, and also the delivery services. So tackle all of those 4 areas at once to deliver results about illegal online supply of medicine. The main objective, of course, as we said, was to safeguard public health. Secondly, to raise the public awareness of the inherent dangers of buying medicines from unregulated websites. And thirdly, to seize counterfeit and unlicensed products and remove them from the market. So we are able to disrupt and dismantle and close down websites acting illegally, identify and investigate the producers and distributors of counterfeit medicines and the criminal networks supporting them, bring to prosecution those responsible, and seize their assets. And lastly, enhance the cooperation amongst international agencies to raise awareness that counterfeit medicine is traded online. The last Operation Pangaea ran in June this year. I'll not give you all the facts and figures, but this year, 99 countries from around the world took part in this operation. 201 agencies altogether. It included 75 countries' customs, 45 countries' medicines regulators, and police in 81 countries throughout the world. It also included PayPal, Visa Europe, and Visa International, Barclaycard, and MasterCard. Altogether, 276 adverts were removed, and a staggering 9,600 websites were taken down and had their payment facilities removed. That's the way that they make money, through the credit cards. Arrests and investigations throughout the world totaled 58. 365 postal hubs inspected over 500,000 packages throughout the world. Amongst all the seizures were all those medicines there. I'm not going to name them, but you're talking about anabolic steroids, AIDS medicines, cancer medicines, doping substances, antiviral, and antibiotics. Sum up then, over 9.9 million doses throughout the world were seized. The approximate value in UK pounds was £226.8 million worth of medicines. So I think we have to ask ourselves what's happening for the other 51 weeks of the year. That just shows the list of participating countries every year grows. The number of websites that are being taken down grows, with the number of seized medicines and arrests, all of it in the increase. And this is just to demonstrate to you that I think the answer is collaboration and all working together. I have some pictures of what all this looks like at ports. I'm sure you've all seen pictures like this before, but I don't think I can stress it enough. That's the kind of thing you'll find at airports and ports. All those pills are not licensed and not tested for any safety or quality. This is just newspaper cuttings from newspapers in the UK. We make sure we get as much publicity about this as we possibly can. Oh. Okay, the last thing I want to mention, it has been mentioned by a couple of my colleagues before, but just to give you another little bit of a flavor, in the European Union, there is now specific legislation that is targeting counterfeit medicines across Europe. This is called the Falsified Medicines Directive. I'm not going to bore you with a long speech about what it does and what it doesn't do, but I will go over some of the main points with you. From January this year, there is much more robust control over manufacturers and wholesalers of medicines throughout Europe. We're also licensing people who call themselves brokers of medicines. That means that they don't actually touch any of the medicines, they just organize the sale from point A to point B. They now have to be licensed as well as the other distributors. There's tougher controls on wholesale dealers of medicines. They are required to keep more records to ensure that the supply chain has more integrity. They must keep records. They must keep the audit trail of all the products. And very importantly, they must report to the agency whenever there is a counterfeit medicine in their system. Also, there is no longer a loophole that medicines imported into the UK or Europe do not have to be licensed if they're for export only. All those people now must register their products. In addition, active pharmaceutical ingredients, that's the ingredient in medicines that actually make it work. People importing active pharmaceutical ingredients to make medicines must register with us at the agency to notify us that they are bringing those products into the UK and that they are going to make medicines with them. It closes off another loophole. And the same applies to excipients, other parts of the medicine. Francois mentioned this yesterday. Later on, another stage of the Falsified Medicines Directive will be that all medicines will have to have safety features on the packaging. I can't give you too much information about what that will actually result in because this is still under discussion with the European Union, and as you can imagine, getting 28 member states to agree on what those safety features will ultimately look like will be a task. But we have till next year to finalize the arrangements, and then each member state country will then have approximately 3 years to ensure that all the medicines have the required safety features and tracking and tracing systems in place. The final thing I want to mention about the Falsified Medicines Directive is we were talking about websites. The Falsified Medicines Directive will also bring into place a logo system for websites that are selling medicines throughout Europe. All sites selling medicines will be required to register with the agency in their country and obtain a logo, which will be displayed on all pages of the website that are selling medicines across Europe. That logo has been decided within Europe, and they are working on the legislation which will have to be implemented next year. The UK had a voluntary logo system, which was that one there. That will be replaced by the mandatory European logo later on next year. Okay, it just remains for me to thank you very much for listening to me. I will be around all day, so if you wanted to ask me any questions, of course you'll have to bring an interpreter, but I'd be very, very happy to speak to you, or if not, through Kirill. He has my email address, and any questions, I'll be happy to take them all. I'd just like to thank you all for listening, and by the way, I'd like to thank my friend, the interpreter, in the background, who's been working very hard. So thank you all very much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day here. Thank you.